Yo, 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 what is going on, COD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder. And man, listen, we're here for it all. Today on the official COD Discord, something I actually had some free time for, shockingly enough, and started noticing that this was happening in real time, where we ended up seeing, basically, I guess if you consider it a raid, that came in, and we started getting a bunch of JasonGee for mod hashtags that were being thrown in. And I think it started, where was it? I think right here. Yeah, so D started off, and then you got Circle Ashley, etc., right? That had kind of started it. It didn't seem as though it obviously lasted that long because they ended up putting a timeout on it. Just interesting. I don't know what exactly happened with like the Mephisto thing yesterday. I'm still needing to read back on that as well, so we might do a separate video just talking about it. And bear in mind, I am not privy at all when it comes to what happens from a moderator side on the potential fear or caution is probably a better word to use for things such as raids. So this is more of just kind of me reacting to the situation. However, I will say that, personally, I think there's a big difference between raiding, if you want to call it that, a server from people that don't play the game versus people that do play the game and are maybe, I don't know if I want to use the word ingratiated, but they are invested and known in the community, right? Regardless of how many people know them, right? Clearly, this was kind of more of, I mean, you could tell, right, some of the TFS players that were coming in with the JasonGee for mod. Now, in most cases, if you're just looking at this at face value, it probably seems relatively harmless. With the amount of posts that were happening all within a minute of each other, I mean, again, it's a lot. But to me, and again, I'm just going to speak objectively because I don't know how many times this has happened on the COD Discord. I don't necessarily know what the rules are in place on the COD Discord for how they action those things. Is, you know, again, I know some servers that will treat raiding very aggressively. Others might attempt certain steps that they'll go through kind of in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 before they potentially get to, you know, a higher level of repercussions or actions that they may need to do. However, we ended up seeing JasonGee getting warned. Now, I just want to point out, and again, this is somewhat obvious, right? Jason didn't post on here, but clearly something happened, right, to get people all of a sudden coming on the Discord. Whether it was by his action or ask or request, or if it was others that just kind of started in, right, with the hive or the group mentality, if you will, of deciding, hey, let's go in and start posting this. Now, personally, I just think this is all in good fun. But as I said, I'm not a mod, and I don't know, like I said, some of the inner workings on do they have policies and kind of action plans in place already that has been discussed by all the mods or by the kind of management team there on the Discord where it's, hey, if this happens, this is how we handle it? Or was this more of a impulsive kind of reactionary decision? Again, you know, and this is not me to call out the mod team, you know, not calling out or sliding Rusty at all. I know Rusty has experience doing mod work from, you know, what he's mentioned as well publicly in other Discords. However, I guess my general view on the situation, which isn't directed at anyone, is more of, well, you know, why couldn't we just try putting the room on slow mode first and maybe just issuing timeouts to the individuals that are doing it, or you could say the ones that have done it more than once, or maybe the way that you approach raiding, if that's the case, regardless of if it's people within or outside of the community, you just do kind of a passive, we're just going to time out everyone that posts this. I mean, you know, if everyone goes through it and posts it once and then it's done, okay. I think there's also a big difference, I should say, excuse me, as well, is between having people from the community coming in and saying something and doing it just one time compared to them doing it every single day at the same time. I think there's a big difference there between kind of like a short term or kind of a one-off, if you will, versus doing it for a really long time. And you could see here, right, basically at around this point, what was it, 112? It had been, what, 3, 4... So right here, it had been 4 minutes since it started. And then you ended up having Jason banned. Right? Now, again, as I was saying, my opinion on it is I took this as a little aggressive. But again, I will say, with my asterisk, I don't know a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff. So I'm, even though I'm familiar with Discord permissions and how to do those things, and I'm sure a lot of other people are as well, when it comes to managing a large Discord with this amount of people, I'll be the first to admit, right, I have never managed a Discord with more than probably 3,000 people in it. And also, I should say that I haven't had a situation like this come up. However, I would like to hope that unless it is overly egregious to the point of where it's, it's going on for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes straight of just not you can see the trend going in that direction. Okay, that's different, right? Obviously, you can also apply. I think that's different in the case of, okay, well, maybe we need to put the slow mode on. Maybe we'll do some timeout warnings, right? If people are posting multiple times and it's not just people coming in and doing it once, right? I think that also factors in. Because if it's general spamming where you have one person who's just copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, send, copy paste, send, copy paste, and I think that's also different than if they're just coming in and posting once, right? If we look at this from the 109 mark on when it started, excuse me, right, you got J, Ari Tiny Avatar, Jack King, Flynn, J, but that looks like a different J, Hala, Little Romeo, Peckman, S, Ari. So Ari posted twice. MLH Bad Boy Ashley, Voster's Hunt, Kyoshu, Avatar. So what, 2, 3 people posted, 4 people posted twice. Again, I'm probably not going to get everyone, but right, someone posted 3 times. I mean, again, if you go back and you look through it, right, you can see that, right, there are some people that are doing that. Now, if you just came in and did it one time, okay, that's cool. Like, I think those to me are kind of almost like fun, impromptu, spontaneous, just things. Like if people just came in, it was just each person just posted one time and that was it, right? That's okay. However, I do think people have to abide by general Discord rules, right? When you have things like if you're really spamming, right? I wouldn't, if this was like a fun thing where everyone's like A, B, C, D, and we're just like counting the alphabet or something like that, and then we're just rotating it, and everyone just kind of like goes once, okay. I mean, maybe as long as it doesn't take like an hour to get done, so to speak. But again, I'm curious because I haven't been around these types of situations before, so I would love to know, what do you think, right? Do you think, hey, this was just kind of harmless fun? Maybe it's, hey, just kind of let them go for, a few minutes, or hey, just, put the put the chat on cooldown. If you need to issue some timeouts, start there, right? And then kind of move it up from that point. Or maybe you start with a cooldown and then you do timeouts if people are posting, let's say, more than 3 times, right? 3 times or more if it's the same person, right? And then you escalate it to, from timeouts, right, beyond that if needed. Right, maybe it's a timeout for 24 hours, or maybe it's a timeout for 2 days, whatever it is, right? You kind of escalate appropriately. But I'm curious, right? Because I don't know a lot about that, as I've said multiple times. But I'd love to know, if you're someone who's ever been a mod of a big Discord, I would be curious to hear from you on if you've had situations like this come up. Again, do you think that this, well, I shouldn't say the right or wrong approach. What I would like to say is, how did you handle it, right? What was your experience? How did you address the situation? And then did you feel like with how you addressed the situation, did it have a better, an ideal, or just a good outcome in your opinion, right? So let me know in the comments down below. Yeah. And then obviously, I clearly had to get, just a quick gif in there. Which again, isn't antagonizing, but just kind of coming to realization with what was happening, or at least what it appeared to be happening, I should say. And I think the other thing is, you have to think about when raids potentially happen, or if they do, right? It also takes away, which again, is not to say like, oh, how dare they come in here and do that. It's just to say simply, if you're looking at it objectively, it takes away from other people asking questions in the chat too as well, or just having kind of general banter, or just general discussions, right, in conversations and dialogue. Right, and then anyone want to be next? I mean, clearly a lot of signups there. cringe. I'm just going through a couple real quick. Fan with the what did you expect? Yeah. I mean, it's... sorry, I had to get some agua. I mean, it is, man. It's a little 50-50 on it, right? Because how many people will go up here and read rules and info, right? Where if I go up here and it says, right, all these things to not do, no spamming, disruption in chat, spread of false information, malicious, NSA, right? So spamming is included. However, the thing I often find about with rules and info is they typically do not tell you the action plan that they will take in order of when things happen, right? It'll tell you it's kind of like what's okay to do and what's not okay to do. But what I usually notice in most of these is it doesn't say anything about, oh, well, if you do these things or under this line item, if you do it, right, first offense could be as low as, right? And again, there's always good ways to word things. Could be as low as a timeout, right? And then, could be as high as, if escalated, right, a ban or something like that, right? But kind of giving the range or saying, right, first offense, second offense, third offense could be this, depending if they apply a 3-strike or they just have more of a zero tolerance policy. I don't see anything on here that says zero tolerance. But again, I'm not here to try and, grammar police or rule police the rules here that are there. It's just something that I find interesting when I go through Discords. Hang on, I think I have to scroll back down to if we can catch up and see what's some of the other conversation. No, it's these guys, man. Free my boy. It's so funny because I will say this. For a moment, this is funny. And I say this is funny because for a moment I was actually thinking, oopsies, why am I streaming? This is the most alive chat has ever been. That's not right, Darkness. Chat's been good. Chat's been good some days. Yeah. Yeah. Make free heal great again. These guys, man. True power of spam. Oh man. I think this player was referring to NAF in this one. From what was mentioned earlier. People uproar. Yeah, and that's the challenge, man, is, you got NAF, JasonGee. I mean, they're again, other players are, somewhat public figures to a degree, right, with being a little bit more well-known in the community. So, banning to me, I just always feel like should just kind of be a last resort. That's just my general thought on it. Just because, that can also cause the kind of martyrdom, right? Where then you have people kind of raising their arms because of what happened, right? So it almost can sometimes inflame, right? Or stoke the fire even more. So again, you just kind of have to be careful in my opinion with those things. I mean, yes and no. Yes and no. It's just, it goes back to what I was saying earlier, right? There's no list of what repercussions are on the Discord. It's kind of up to them essentially on how they want to set that. And then the challenge is it becomes very reactionary, right? Because you don't know what the repercussions are going to be. So when it happens, then you potentially you could have more uproar because of the actions that were taken. And then some people saying, oh, well, that's a little bit too harsh or what it may be. And then the response from the mod team is, oh, we'll just read the rules, don't do those things. But again, it goes back to the original point is that the rules don't also indicate what those levels, different actions for different levels of offenses will be. So it's kind of just like it's like a definition of insanity, right? It's just maybe not that, but you're just circling the drain, right? It's just kind of going back and forth with, oh, this is our side, that's your side, this is our side, that's your side. Slower, here I come. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Yeah, see, and then, Finn's response doesn't work like that. And that's the challenge, is that transparency is important, right? Where if you don't have that list that written out, this is kind of the conversation that will immediately follow, right? Because that wasn't detailed out before something big happened, right? Now, could this have been avoidable by having that information listed out on what those offenses are? In part, yes. In another part, maybe approaching the situation with a little, with a different tone, let's say, or a different level of how to go about solving or mediating the situation, could have as well. But again, like I said, I'm not here to judge anyone on the decisions that were made. I think it's just more of, what happened in the beginning to get it to that point. What were the actions that were made, and then just looking and analyzing, how things are now going. So, yeah, it's interesting. It is just with how things go down sometimes. Gotta be coincidence, everyone, for the TF server. You may not necessarily be wrong. Press the reset button on this server, everything burns. And then now you see, what? Since we started, right? Well, now chat is, I guess it's easy now, but 182 messages now since 122. We are a little far back, but and slow mode's been off for however long. Yeah. But I want to point something out here, right? And something that may not be talked about. And I'll give you a great example. Let's switch the role around. What would happen if my name was spammed, right? What would happen if someone else's name was spammed? Would the mods immediately assume that it was that individual that sent those people over? Because that's a pretty hard assumption, right, to make. Arguably anyone, any number. And I want to go back to the precedent setting, right? The reason why, if you're really looking at this deeper than it is, the reason why this can be dangerous if due diligence is not applied, meaning that you've actually gone to figure out what was the source of people coming in and doing this. People could, like I said, people could do it to my name, people could do it to other people's names, and then what? Would the mods just immediately ban those people, right? If people come in and they just start, throwing my name out there for whatever it is, and I didn't do anything, right? Would they reach out to ask me? Would they join my Discord and take a look to see if anything was posted in an announcement? Right. And again, maybe they did their due diligence. I'm not saying they didn't. I'm just saying that it is a dangerous precedent to set, especially if there isn't a reason. Maybe there is. I just haven't read further down. Maybe it was something mentioned above and we didn't see it. I just want to say that more generally speaking, because it is something that you want to make sure that you're being careful about how to approach. So. Circle. Let's see. Let's try and catch up the chat. She's 251 messages now. Dang. It's like, then you just got, and who knows? It's probably gonna be a meme. I'd be shocked. Right? We'll check the meme channel to see if there's anything there. Yeah. He's still living, damn. She's now 309. Yo, people are going in right now. They're going faster than I can catch up. Oh, jeez. People trying to have regular conversations. Like, nope. Let's just fly right on by that. Sodom CEO of Lilith. There's bigger problems right now. I guess. Oh, Oh, look, we caught up. We caught up. Nice. Thought it was going to take a little bit longer. Yeah. Wild stuff. Swing mod real quick. All right, man. I'm going to get out of here. Obviously, would love to know your guys' thoughts on all this. Again, within hopefully a respectable and applying a level of professional courtesy when you do post a comment, if able. But again, would love to really know what you guys think on some of the things we talked about, on some of the questions we asked as well, your general thoughts on the situation. Just interesting on how this one went down. That's going to do it for me. Those are my opinions. That's what I'm thinking. Craziness right now in the CoD Discord. As always, until next time, we'll catch you later.